Hello lovelies, it's Shani Haynes here from Australia. I'm just going to do a little quick video on the 3 projects that I have made for today's blog hop, which the theme was paper party. So that's specialising in all the special designer series paper and all the other specialty papers. I can't wait to see what everyone's made because I think it's going to be awesome. I've decided to do 3 different levels of cards, one for the beginner, one for the casual stamper and one for the Avid. And as you can see, I've already started one for the beginner. It's not all stuck down, but I wanted to show you the paper. So that's the card base. This is a piece of, it's ombre, but it's just faint, but it's lovely. Just this piece is faint, and the paper that I'm going to showcase today is from the Ombré Speciality Paper, and it's also glimmer paper. So you can see there's the ombre on that piece. So you get 3, or beg your pardon, you get 4 pieces of the card in 4 different colours, and it's just something a little bit different. There's lots of different sparkly colours, lots of greens in there. I can see yellows and reds, but it's a bit of fun. So let's get to it. I'm using the Party Puffins stamp set because they're just too cute. And so for the first card, as you can see, I have just stamped it straight onto the card. Now you can't do it, because I'm using this paper anyway, but you can't stamp straight onto your card if you're going to colour in with blends, because it will bleed through into your card. So you've always got to do it on a separate piece. So I've just cut that a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller so it fits on the card. So you can have it square, or like I was planning to do, and offset it like so. So that is what I would describe as a beginner's basic card. Yes, there's a fair bit of colouring in, but it's not really that much. I used Stampin' Blends to colour. I used Pumpkin Pie, dark for the beak and the feet, a light cherry cobbler for the party hat, light night of navy for the cake and the hat, mango melody for the candles, and crumb cake for the cake base. And that didn't take any time at all. And I stamped in Night of Navy. So that's card 1. Card 2, bit more work in there. It's the same principle, it's the same characters. This time they were stamped on paper but cut out. And you can see there's also a different element. I've added some fish jumping through these gorgeous rectangles. Now that's a die, it's called Picture This Dies, and I've been waiting for years for something like this. How many times have you cut multiple circles out on a card base to get this effect? Well, I have anyway, and these are great because they're little stitched lines. So I used the rectangles this time. The good thing about this is you get these pieces left over, which then can become sweet little tags or something to stamp your sentiments on. So don't throw them away, keep them, they're handy. Okay, so that took no time at all to cut that. And the happy birthday make a wish this time, instead of being in the blue, I did it in a white embossing powder and used the Versamark, and I'll show you how I did that. Things you'll need to make this card is the same stuff here, but the dies as well, the die I just showed you. Okay, so my next card, so I'd say that would be for a casual stamper, someone who's got a little bit more time and has a few more bits and pieces. The next card I'm going to make will be this, but as a shaker card. So I'll show you how I put that together. First thing first, you'll need your card base. You'll need a piece of your shimmer paper, or sorry, your sparkly paper, and also I've already cut it, die cut it out, your piece of basic white. So that was cut out from here. So these two rectangles are identical in size. They're just at different levels on the die. The main thing you've got to make sure is your blue doesn't come through. So your white piece of paper has to be a little bit bigger, and to make sure it fits nicely on your card before you start to do stuff. The other piece that is very essential is some window sheet. I have cut mine so it'll fit nicely on the back of here. Tear and tape or double-sided tape, and you can place that on your window sheet or your cardstock. So I'm going to do it on my window sheet. All around it. Oh, make sure it lines up nice. That wasn't very good. Make sure that lines up. It's hard to see that, I know, for you. Or you might see it better than me with the reflections. So you don't want any leaks. This is like putting a window in your house. So you want to make sure that sticks real and truly flat down onto the basic white piece of cardstock. I think shaker cards are one of my favourites. They're so effective, they always make someone smile, and they're really not that hard to do. You're limited by your imagination as well. So we'll just see if we can get this to play and pick up. I'm all thumbs today. So we take off all the layers. If I could fast forward this, I would, but I can't, not today. Okay, so we've got that. Find the front and the back of your die cut. Make sure you stick it on the right side and place that down. I've just got it in, a little bit crooked, but that's on. So now you've got your window. Now you've got your window on there. Next thing you'll need is some foam adhesive strips. Now these are fabulous because they go a long way. You get a lot in your pack. And for some reason he must have been cut quite deep, but doesn't matter. So you just, alright, we'll start this bit. You peel off, we'll use a couple of strips. This again has to be sealed pretty tight to ensure that none of your shaker elements sneak out. It's a little bit thicker than the dimensionals, so it's a little bit higher, which is really good because sometimes I use these instead of dimensionals if I want certain embellishments to sit up higher than the dimensionals. It's quite a handy product. And as you can see, it's really not that hard to put a shaker card together. I'm sure many of you have done shaker cards before. Okay, but for those who haven't, it's always something new for someone, isn't it? So peel off. Now I'm not going to bother with measurements for this card because it doesn't matter what country you're in. If you use Stampin' Up paper, well, I use A4 paper, so I cut an A4 piece in half. That gives me half an A4 gives me one card base. So whatever country you're in, you cut your cardstock in half, that's your card base. The next piece you do, you go in a few inches or centimetres, and this one out a little bit. So it's not, you know, it doesn't matter where you're from. Now I haven't got any glue, hang on. You can always use your eye and mark it with a pencil and then cut it if you're not sure about exact measurements. Now I have to say, I've done a few shaker cards in my time, but I've never done one with a sparkly background. So I'm curious to see how much it grips and sticks all the shaker elements in there. Okay. Now, I have taken the sticky off that, which was silly. I've got an embossing buddy. I'm going to go around the inside edges with it. Do this before you take the sticky off. And what this does is cover that with a little bit of the corn flour. If you don't have one of these, you can always use just some powder with a paintbrush or something and brush it lightly. Okay, now that's going to be sitting just over here away for the minute. The next thing you'll need to do is stamp and cut yourself a few of these little characters. So I have gone ahead and done that and coloured them in half. I wanted to show you very quickly. I always colour in with there's the brush end and the small end. I always use the small end, and because the puffins are pretty much black and white, the only thing really is just a touch of colour everywhere else, which what makes this such a quick, fun card, because there's not a lot of colouring in. Night of Navy in the light. And there's his little hat. So that's done. And the cake's done as well. Next thing is you'll need some fish. Now, I've done fish. I've done a lot of fish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The reason I've done so many is because there's actually 5 fish in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. These fish are going to go inside. They're not going to go outside. So I wanted to make sure I had enough fish. The other thing, I thought I needed a little bit more in my shaker card than just fish. So where's my card? Let's go. So I've got my card here. I've got my top. I'm going to put my fish, these little guys can hop out the way a minute. I'm going to put my fish in here, but I'm going to put them in that way. Okay, now you can do a lot more fish than this, and I'll probably regret it and wish I did more, but I haven't. I haven't got any more. Oh yeah, I've got one more. Why not just do that and use him up, or he'll just end up in the bin. I do keep card candy, like all these little extra bits, but I have a drawer full of them, so I'm going to use him up. So I used cherry cobbler and pumpkin pie to colour in my fish. Fish presents, they've got ribbon on them. Okay. Now I stamped all of this with early espresso. I stamped all of it early espresso. That's my go-to black. I don't use black often because it's easy to clean and it just comes out nice. Okay, now we want more than that in the shaker. So I've pulled out my sequins for everything. Now I have to actually confess, this is still current. I bought this, my goodness, with the last catalogue, and I haven't used it. Haven't even opened the packet. I decided I want to use the red ones. So I'm going to carefully get out some red ones. And there's a whole lovely mix of stuff in there. There's sequins and hexagons and little round discs, all sorts. So why don't we just go crazy and have a whole heap. Throw in a few orangey ones because there are fish in there. Want to make the fish feel happy. I want to make happy fish in my shaker card. Now it's all stuck to me. Okay, off you go. Off. Good. Pop the lid back on. That's a big important doer. Okay, now we've got all our elements in there that I want. I'm going to now do the hardest thing. I always find this a hard thing, is to line that up. There are other ways to do this. I think I should do them, but I'm not doing it today on a deadline. So, you're going to get one go. Alright, we're doing it. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, everybody. Make sure it's sealed nicely. Turn it over. It's not too bad. Not too bad. So there we have these gorgeous fish shaking around in there. Now we're going to add our sweet little, happy little birthday puffins. He's up there jumping. You can stick them flat or you can dimensional them. I'm going to dimensional them because I love dimensionals. Too much not to use it. And, okay, so he's got 2 on him. He's there. And the cake, I might add another dimensional to this one. I'm a bit stuck. Okay. There we go. And one for the cake. There we are. So they're getting all excited over the birthday cake. If you want to add some more fish on the outside to match that, I think that's achievable. Well and truly would look great. One last touch now. We want to do a little bit of embossing. If you don't have an embossing buddy, get an old sock or a little brand new kid's sock. Fill it up with corn flour, stitch it up. Done. Not too hard at all. Okay, so I've got my white embossing powder. What's left of it? I'm getting very low. My Versamark. My 2 stamps. And I'm going to, it doesn't matter if it's upside down because it's going to be cut. I need to get right on top and see what I'm doing. Okay, stamp my 2 stamps. I love embossing. I think it's fabulous. It just never bores me. So we've got a tiny little, there we go. It's not too bad. There we go. Bear with me while we just cook this up a little bit. I think the appeal to make this card today was to make more of a masculine card. I never have enough masculine birthday cards. Hands up if you find it easier to make a female or a feminine card. Doesn't have to be female. And then you go, oh, I need something for so-and-so, and you think they're not going to want that sort of card. They're going to want something a bit more like this. So it's handy to have them. But then again, who doesn't love navy? I think navy is one of the most popular cardstock colours. So let's clean this up. We've got, these can be mounted up high or glued flat. I glued it flat because I wanted the animals to be the star of the show. So that, my lovelies, is pretty much my 3 cards. And I had a lot of fun making that. I hope you enjoyed my little show. I would have probably cut that a bit shorter, but it's too late now. So there's the original card. Hang on. Whoa. So that was the original, but I've used the base for this. Then there was the step up, which doesn't look too different from the next one, but it's a little bit more work. How about that? Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I'll maybe see you again another day. Okay.